Blackstone Audiobooks presents Cracking Your Retirement Nest Egg by Margaret A. Malaspina. For Derek. Get your exit strategy ready. On the first school day of the year my father retired from teaching, he played golf. It was his way of letting the world know that he would be calling the shots, so to speak, from then on. Did he worry about paying his mortgage, how to allocate his investment assets, whether to name contingent beneficiaries? Nope. A check representing 75% of what he had earned in his last year of teaching was scheduled to arrive on the last day of the month, and every month thereafter for the rest of his life. After his death, my mom can expect to receive a check until she passes away. Plus, my dad's 25 years as an officer in the U.S. Air Force Reserves qualifies him to receive 50% of the pay he earned as a lieutenant colonel. Even I, no wizard in math, could figure out that Mom and Dad were going to be okay. Dad, of course, is part of a generation that looked to its employers to provide income for retirement. And within the ranks of old-line American companies, public school systems, and government and municipal agencies, there are still people like my dad. But their numbers have gotten smaller over the past 20 years as hundreds of new companies and small businesses have entered the marketplace, and job mobility has become the norm. Even the public sector has begun to shift more of the savings burden to its employees. Since the 1980s, most new companies have bypassed traditional retirement pension plans in favor of a new kind of retirement plan, one that requires employees to put in their own money and reduces the employer's ante to a modest matching contribution, and even that is often not required. Many old-line companies have added these new savings plans alongside their traditional pension plans. Defined contribution plans, that's what they're called, are cheaper for the employers and a better fit with today's transient workforce. The most popular is a 401k, which covers more than 42 million American workers. Nonprofits, hospitals, and educational institutions offer 401k equivalents known as 403bs. The government sector's version of a 401k is called a 457 plan. Entrepreneurs and small businesses can get in the act with simple IRAs or simple 401ks, SEP IRAs, and KEO plans, plus some new offerings such as the Safe Harbor 401k. In addition to, or instead of, a workplace retirement savings plan, something on the order of 25% of today's workers also have an IRA, an individual retirement account. These are the savings plans that are going to foot the bill for retirement for most 21st century workers. That will come as no surprise if you are counting down to your own retirement. But you may be shocked at how many choices you have to make, how many rules and regulations you have to understand, and how many ways there are to go wrong with this money you've been nurturing so carefully during your working years. For example, do you know how much money you are going to need each month from your retirement savings to meet your budgetary requirements? Have you thought about how your financial needs will change as you age and move through the 3 stages of retirement? How long your money will last? How much do your investments have to earn or return? What you will do if the markets turn south, as they did from 2000 through 2002, and stay there for an extended period of time? That you need to plan carefully if you want to make it easy and convenient to get at your money every month. That the rules about naming beneficiaries have changed. Have you brought your beneficiaries up to date under the new IRS rules? How each of your retirement savings accounts will be taxed. How to avoid paying too much tax. That company stock in your retirement plan is entitled to special tax treatment. That you could be in danger of incurring a huge penalty if you make a mistake in your pattern of retirement account withdrawals. And if you do goof, you must be prepared to negotiate penalties with the IRS. When you are required to begin taking minimum withdrawals from your retirement accounts. How you can avoid taking minimum withdrawals from some accounts. And which accounts offer no flexibility. Whether you are better off accelerating withdrawals or taking only the minimum required? Hint, the answer depends on your financial situation and your estate planning goals. That you could become ineligible to convert your retirement savings to a Roth IRA if you wait until you begin required withdrawals? Do you know how to manage your eligibility so that you can make a conversion even if your salary is too high? That an IRA rollover is the last stop for most retirement savings, and why? Before you throw up your hands in despair, read on. This compact, solution-saturated book will give you answers for these and dozens of other special situations. You need to know the answers to only your questions and the terminology that applies to only your choices. I've highlighted the major terms along the way and included essential information in boxes within the numbered sections. You need only enough knowledge and understanding to steer your retirement in the right direction without being overwhelmed by technical details you don't need to know. You won't have to become an expert in retirement law or IRS rules. Use our glossary at the back of the book to help understand terminology and pinpoint answers to your own specific questions. It is important to be able to see the big picture and to have access to information about the fine points if and when the need arises. After all, you wouldn't board a plane for an exotic foreign land without understanding enough basic geography or vocabulary to find your way. You don't want to set out for retirement without a notion of the special rules, regulations, and language that describes and defines it. But what does that mean? While there are hundreds of subtle nuances to the rules that govern retirement savings, I believe there are 25 major things you must know before you take your first dollar of retirement income. This advice will cover situations that the vast majority of earners will face. That's what this book is about. It was written to offer practical information that any reader can understand about the process of taking money out of retirement savings plans and turning it into income. You don't need to read every word of it, but you do need to zero in on the parts that apply to you. One of the best things about retiring in the 21st century is that your job just got easier, thanks to a much-needed overhaul to the system that governs withdrawals from tax-advantaged plans and accounts. Early in 2001, the IRS issued a new set of rules and regulations that will govern retirement plan withdrawals after 2002. And other key issues associated with the process of taking money out of retirement accounts and passing them on to beneficiaries. The new rules simplified and streamlined procedures and eliminated some of the most complicated requirements. Now, the IRS isn't generally known for making things simpler for taxpayers, so why the change of heart? I'd like to think it was because the bureaucrats finally came to their senses and said, no one can figure this stuff out, not even the accountants and financial planners. Something has to change. What we do know is that the number of requests for private letter rulings from people with big bucks at stake asking for a reprieve because someone in the family screwed up or got bad advice finally got their attention. And my guess is that the IRS looked ahead and said, wow, if people are confused now, what is it going to be like when 75 million baby boomers start inheriting large account balances from their parents, which is already happening, and begin taking money out of their own accounts? It was not a pretty picture. In my opinion, there was another motive. Taxes due on tax-deferred retirement savings figure to be one of the single largest sources of government revenue for the 21st century. Think about it. More than $4 trillion in retirement savings waiting to be passed down to baby boomers by their parents, and not a penny of it has been taxed. What's more, the IRS realized that it really had no efficient way of keeping track of what it was owed and when taxes were due. The new rules have taken an important first step to end this madness by shifting reporting accountability to the investment companies. Beginning in 2004, IRA custodians will have to report to account owners and the IRS on accounts that are subject to take required withdrawals. Eventually, the IRS wants to be able to check that retirees and their beneficiaries are withdrawing what they should on time and paying all the tax they owe. But don't let all this good news about simplicity obscure the ongoing challenges of turning your retirement savings into income. The recent turmoil in the financial markets strikes a more sobering note with anyone who is counting on a robust investment climate for future security. For nearly a decade, the stock market delivered positive returns. For 5 years running, it delivered stunning double-digit returns. Advocates of diversification were hissed and booed as new economy prophets proclaimed it was different this time. Well, it wasn't. Economic expansions always end. Financial markets have always been volatile. We have had the good fortune of living through one of the strongest decades in U.S. financial history. If you're going to manage your retirement income through good and bad environments, you need to have information and strategies that allow for all possible scenarios. You'll find all that and more in